That's the one. That's the baby. Isn't that sweet?
She got a kick out of it. And somebody was, you know, and everybody's saying she was difficult. Now here was something that was more difficult than she was, in effect, you know. And because you can't scold a dog into doing the right thing, you know.
Jeff, come here, Jeff. Jeff, come here. Get over here.
Yeah, he's getting good.
Just as things began to stabilize on the Something's Got to Give set, a new crisis loomed. On Thursday, May 17th, 4 days after Monroe had returned to work, a helicopter carrying Peter Lawford landed on the Fox lot and whisked Marilyn away just before the noon break. That afternoon, she flew to New York to perform at a lavish birthday party in Madison Square Garden for President John F. Kennedy. Monroe had been asked to sing Happy Birthday to the President.
Mr. President, the late Marilyn Monroe.
Fox executives were beside themselves. Studio chief Peter Levathes had personally ordered Monroe not to go. Cukor pleaded with her and again shut down the set the minute she left. But for Monroe, already said to be having an affair with JFK, the invitation was irresistible.
I mean, my God, here's a girl who really came from the streets, who had a mother who was not all there, a father who had disappeared, who was deeply disturbed, was now going to Madison Square Garden in a dress that she had to be sewn into, literally sewn into, to sing Happy Birthday to the President and to that president.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you. Everybody, happy birthday!
Cukor was angry. The studio was angry. There was a feeling of resentment, you know, that everybody had been patient enough and trying as hard as they could for Marilyn, and then to do this.
My memory, I remember being with Cukor at the time, was that we were both astonished that she had gone and angry. Cukor particularly was angry. You know, he was starting to feel, I think, a kind of helplessness in the situation, that regardless of what he did, regardless of what the studio said or something, you know, she was going to get her way.
When Levathes fired Monroe 3 weeks later, he used this trip to New York to justify the action. But studio records, including this daily log sheet for Something's Got to Give, suggest that Monroe had permission to make the trip and that Fox changed its mind when filming fell behind schedule.
Oh, no, we knew a couple of weeks in advance. No, we knew. Well, I didn't see written permission, but we all knew she was going. She did have permission. Everybody knew she was leaving. And they were going to shoot around her.
They were very upset, and so was I, and that was stupid. And had I been more experienced, I said, Marilyn, I'll go with you. We'll get more publicity for the picture, which would be the natural thing to do. I should walk with a sign saying, you know, something's got to give, instead of worrying about whether she's gone or what the studio thinks. And I mean, immediately the studio should have been alerted. We should have had our own cameramen there. With her and the president, she's running back. I mean, that's what you would do, instead of, how could she go?
Marilyn Monroe returned from President Kennedy's birthday bash in Madison Square Garden on Monday, May 21st. As Cukor feared, the trip had exhausted her, so much so that she couldn't shoot close-ups, and spent the day doing retakes of this scene with the kids.
I got sand in my foot. All right, let's get it out.
Now, that's good. I'd like you one more.
Things worsened the next day when Dean Martin turned up with a cold. Monroe, still trying to shake her virus, refused to work with him, despite assurances from studio doctors that he wasn't contagious. Cukor could do little but spin his wheels. The day was spent reshooting earlier scenes. As tensions heightened on the set, Monroe's insecurity and paranoia likewise rose. She had a blonde extra removed, simply because she was blonde, and she called Weinstein one night with a bizarre complaint. Sid Charisse, Monroe said, was patting her breasts.
Man, how do you know? I haven't seen you on the set in days. And I said, furthermore, we're shooting her in a negligee. How do you pad the breasts? She said, you're naive. You do it from underneath the breast with tape. I said, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I said, but if you think that I'm going to tell Monsieur Cerise that her breasts are too big, you're mistaken. She said, okay, then I'm going to pad mine. I said, those lovely breasts, you're not going to pad. It would be criminal. She said, no, I'm going to pad them, and you're going to have to redo all my costumes.
Fortunately for Weinstein, the next scene Marilyn shot required no costume. The nude pool scene, perhaps the most famous sequence ever shot for a movie that was never made. According to the script, this midnight skinny dip was Marilyn's way of encouraging Dean Martin to break the news to his new wife, Sid Charisse, that his first wife had come home.
I don't feel so good.
Get out of there. Oh, stay back in.
Come on in. The water's so refreshing. You know, after you've done you know what?
Monroe began the scene wearing a flesh-colored bikini, but when a cameraman complained that the line of her bra was visible, she slipped out of the suit and did the scene au naturel. The effect on stage 14, indeed, the entire Fox lot, was electric.
Incredible. I mean, the word got around that Marilyn was swimming nude. And we kind of closed the door. I mean, we would have had half the studio there.
That was a highlight of the made. Marilyn would be love to do that, and I think it showed. If I remember the rushes at the time, there was no pressure. I mean, that's something she could do. Take her clothes off, go in a pool, and come out. There isn't all of that mental strain of playing a scene with someone.
I had the robe, and when she finally came up, like, put her arm out of the pool and put her arm over her boob to hide it. And she made me get right by the camera all the time like he is right now, and if I could see anything I shouldn't see, say so, and she wouldn't, let him print the scene.
Monroe knew that her skinny dip, the first true nude scene by a major star, was likely to cause a media sensation, which is apparently just what she had in mind. When photographers who shot these stills asked her to release them, Monroe casually consented in exchange for one promise, that they knock Liz Taylor off the magazine covers of the world. That they did. Within weeks, the photos appeared in 32 countries, a kind of last hurrah for Hollywood's greatest cover girl.
She made her feel great. It was her happiest day. She felt secure that day. Why? That day as opposed to another day, I don't know.
Get back!
I really thought the worst was over.
Briefly, it seemed like it was. Although her 4 hours in the pool had aggravated her virus, Marilyn continued to work, and work well. On the 26th of May, she shot this scene, a Garbo-like turn in which she pretends to be Martin's Swedish maid.
I see. Take your Swedish name. Mrs. Dunkel, give me permission to take care of children.
Nice to meet you, Mrs. Tick. Nicholas, shall we go in now? Would you mind taking these in for me, please?
Oh, I'll take it.
Yes, no trouble. We have been waiting for you to come home. Honeymoon is over, yeah?
It's just begun.
A few days later, Monroe and Martin worked together again, their first solo scene since filming began.
A man's wife spends 5 years on an island with a strange man.
Would you like it better if I knew him?
And it slips her mind?
Well, I was going to tell you, but I know how upset you get about little things.
Little things.
Monroe had tangled bitterly with previous co-stars like Tony Curtis and Laurence Olivier, and she handpicked Dean Martin as her leading man, in large part because they were friends.